This also, this next story I'm going to read is called Trapped Monkeys. This also came out of 9/11 and introduces one of my favorite characters, a man called Carruthers. Carruthers, I've always loved the name. Carruthers is based on someone I knew as a very young fellow. I was heading off to boarding school, and Carruthers was presented to my parents and I as a photograph of this strapping, fair-haired youth, captain of cricket, captain of rugby, head of school, and, you know, scholarship off to Eton. And it was instilled into me that by my father, be like Carruthers. You must become like Carruthers. So I've always loved the name Carruthers for whatever reason. So I'll read Trapped Monkeys. This is a slightly different angle as well. It's more sort of the British colonial background. So, Trapped Monkeys. Under Lord Milford, we controlled the natives by alternately suppressing and encouraging civil strife, playing the tribes off against each other. For years, we maintained a stability of sorts, but a leader had appeared. Now, they were uniting against us. The rebels everywhere, yet they were nowhere. We'd sort things out in one area, trying to hang on to the jewel, and they'd pop up somewhere else. All of us claiming God, assuring each other of our right to be, assuring each other of the opposition's guaranteed destruction. The liberals reminding us of our moral role, forgetting that they had the luxury of being liberal because the barbarians were not yet breaking down the gates. The Colonial Office made it very clear there was nothing they could do. If things went wrong, we were on our own. If we relinquished the colony, everyone would know the lion was losing its teeth. We had the means to win, of course, within a short time, but it would make us more savage than the savages we were fighting. Ultimately, it would come to this. Lord Milford knew, and he completely caved in. The poor fellow wasted away. Now, I was in charge until a replacement could be found, but candidates were not forthcoming. I hadn't slept properly in months. My old friend Brigadier Carruthers insisted I take some time off. You're going to end up like Lord Millie, old chap, he joked, trying to make the best of it. He knew how bad things were. He'd been proposing we get out, hand the whole mess over to the natives. It's what they bloody well deserve, he postulated, after all we've done for them. Let's leave it to them and see where they get to. Bloody monkeys, the lot of them. I repeated for the umpteenth time how it wasn't that simple, but I knew he wasn't convinced. I knew he was right, although I was loath to admit it to myself. I had to maintain appearances. He smiled. It's time you got away from it all, just for a few days. Give yourself a proper break, old chap. Spot of hunting in the Highlands, what? That'll put you right. Aside from the heat, it was almost like Scotland up there. Excellent trout streams too. Good old Carruthers. We served in the Black Watch. Now he was director of mines. Thus it was, somehow, I found myself drenched in sweat, ensconced in ferns, a tick burrowing into my neck. I wondered what the hell I was doing, what Carruthers was up to, why we couldn't just use the rifle. But he'd insisted. He wanted to prove something. He'd used the word didactic. A small sum of money hinging on the result. Carruthers covered in leaves. We'd been in the undergrowth for quite some time, the troop above us, chattering in the branches, the crude bamboo cage an attraction. The worst that could happen was a leopard might roam into the vicinity, scaring them away. The monkey squatted at the edge of the trees, a large male Waddell's grey. He ambled into the clearing, a couple of others beyond. Carruthers was shaking with suppressed laughter, barely able to control himself. Eyes twitching, the monkey studied the cage. He reached out, touching briefly, retreating for renewed contemplation. He approached again, the plantain within too much to resist. Very slowly, he leaned in, seizing the fruit. He backed away with the prize, finding he was unable to proceed because his fist would not pass through the bars. Carruthers had attached the contraption to a tree. The monkey pulled to no avail. He waited. Then he tried again. No luck. He discarded the plantain, withdrawing his hand, circling the cage, pushing at it. Then he quickly grabbed the plantain once more. "Watch," muttered Carruthers. He rose, releasing the safety catch on the webbing. The troop became silent. The monkey jumped, screeching, baring his teeth, but he would not abandon the object. Wiping the sweat from my eyes, I touched the bump on my neck. The monkey stared, his emerald eyes blinking. Carruthers aimed, squeezing the trigger. The creature's head disappeared in the explosion, the body somersaulting. Above us, the monkeys fled to the forest screaming. Carruthers replaced the pistol in the holster. He lit a cigarette, handing me the water bottle. "Told you so, old chap. I told you so. Learned it from a fakir in India. Minus the gun, of course." He frowned. "By the way, old man, you've got a tick in your neck." "Yes," I said. He held the cigarette towards my throat. I felt the heat, the insect struggling to escape. Carruthers found his penknife, extracting tweezers. "There!" He displayed the creature, legs moving black with blood beneath the flat body. "Valet," he added, positioning it above the cigarette. The tick popped, disappearing in a thread of smoke. "Thanks," I muttered, picking up the rifle, spots before my eyes. The monkey twitched, a leg kicking. I'd read about the trick, but I'd never seen it performed. Carruthers chuckled. "You wait till we cook the bugger. Delicious, monkey soup." I smiled. "Yes, and I owe you 10 guineas. Carruthers lifted the carcass by the tail. When he'd shown me, when he had the beast by the scruff, the fakir said to me, "See yourself here, Sahib. Learn and you might be wise." "Like looking down one of your mine shafts," I said. Carruthers nodded, the last rays of sunlight catching his green eyes. "Just a matter of time." "Why I brought you here, old man, I knew you'd understand." We trudged to the tent in silence. "Glenlivet," Carruthers announced, pouring from the flask. "A case arrived a week ago." Sipping the whiskey, wondering if I would ever see Scotland again, I built the fire while Carruthers skinned the monkey. So that's the end of that.